Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I decided I am going to be starting a new series on my channel for one of my favorite people on this planet, Taylor Swift. So I decided that I am going to build an Eras neighborhood. So basically what this means is I am building 11 tiny homes on one giant lot. I tried to do the spacing out on a 64 by 64 lot, and I need a 100 by 100 lot for this. Miss Swift keeps releasing albums and I'm running out of room. I am very excited about this. I absolutely love Taylor Swift. I have been a huge fan since I was 7 years old, and I am now 25, about to be 26. So this woman's been in my life for most of it, and she has been my top artist for literal decades. I just like everything about her, everything. I love her music. I love her looks. I love the way that she connects with her fans. Everything, literally everything about this woman. Like, I can't say enough good things. But yeah, so today I decided to start with Debut. I am going to go through every single era and make tiny homes for every single album. So Debut is actually the first album, obviously, that Taylor Swift dropped, and it's what introduced me to her. I remember so vividly being in first grade, and we were on the school bus, and someone brought on this CD. And we used to do that in elementary school. It was something really cool. Like, everyone just got to bring a CD, and we would just listen to it on the bus ride to school. And someone brought Taylor Swift by Taylor Swift. And I had already knew Tim McGraw at this point, and Teardrops on My Guitar, but I hadn't really like sat down and listened to the full album. My parents used to be really strict with like iTunes and stuff. This was the iTunes era. So my parents used to be really strict with iTunes, and I wasn't allowed to like buy whatever I wanted. I used to have to ask for it. And very rarely was I able to buy like full albums. So I would like illegally download and YouTube rip things, but I was also in first grade, so I didn't really know how to do that at that point yet. So it was basically just like what I heard on the radio. So basically this girl brings on the CD and we're listening, and I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. And so I went home that day and I made my parents buy me the Taylor Swift CD, and then I made them buy it on iTunes so I could have it on my little iPod. And when I tell you, that was the day my life changed. Like, from then on, I was about to become so insufferable, and I'm okay with it. I really am. So today, I basically tried to encapsulate the vibes of Debut. So I love this album through and through. I think it is one of her most underrated, for sure. Obviously, it was her first album, so it's not going to be her best vocally, but I think this has such great songwriting on it, and we got classics like A Place in This World, The Outside, Our Song. Teardrops on My Guitar might literally be one of my favorite songs that was ever created on the planet. Like, I love that song so much. But yeah, I love the vibes of this album. It just reminds me of summer. It reminds me of being young, obviously, because I was so young when it came out. And I love the butterfly aesthetic. I love, just it felt really whimsical. Like, it felt like, obviously, like a child had made it. And honestly, like, there's something about this album that I think people, they like don't really give it the credit that it deserves. I think it truly is her most underrated album. There's just so much good in this album that it gets overlooked because there's so much great stuff that happened after it. But it truly deserves its flowers, and I think it will finally get that when she releases Debut, Taylor's version. So I'm very excited about that. I am a little pissed off at Miss Swift at the moment, and I have been now for like over a year, because Debut didn't get a set on the Eras tour. And if you're promoting the Eras tour and it's supposed to be the full Eras, where is Debut? Why does she not have a moment? Even if we just got one song, like, I would have been fine with that. Not for Speak Now, that we'll talk about in the Speak Now video. But like, I would have been fine with just like Our Song or Tim McGraw, like one of her, like literally her first single, at least. Like, you're doing, a tour of your entire discography. why not start with your first ever song? So that is my little bone to pick with the Eras Tour, but I digress. I love the way that this house turned out. I really tried to encapsulate the Our Song video for like the front porch. So in that video, she's sitting in like this gorgeous light blue dress, very like flowy at the bottom, corset top, and she has her little curls and she's just sitting there singing Our Song, and it is quite literally one of my favorite moments in music history. It's everything. So for this build, I went with a lot of cottage living, a little bit of horse ranch. It was very fun to kind of bring in her country elements because obviously she was country when she started. So bringing in those elements was so fun for me, and there's so much stuff like that in The Sims that it was perfect. On the side there, I built like the little trellis from high school years, and I put the blue flowers in it because if you're a Swiftie, you know, there is colors for every album. I view Debut as like mostly like a teal, but there are like little hints of blue and little hints of green in there. So I played a lot into that. So for this series, I plan on doing a lot of color based on the album. So obviously we know like every album is associated with a color. Red, of course, is red. Speak Now is obviously purple. So I'm really going to play into that and try to add as many elements from the album as possible. So one of my favorite things to do, which if you've watched my previous videos, you know, I love, love, love putting in like little nods to like my favorite things in my life. So I am very excited to add in like little hints to songs. And I just think that that gives the build a bit more personality. So I'm very excited to play into that here in this series, because if there's one thing Miss Swift loves, it's an Easter egg. So I am very excited to add in my own little Easter eggs into my builds here. So now we are working on the kitchen, and the kitchen is one of my favorite parts of the house. I used a lot of cottage living, like I said. These cottage living counters are my bread and butter. I eat these things up. I think they're so gorgeous. They're just like the perfect kitchen counter. I brought in a lot of like older elements into this house as well. So for me, I'm trying to play into like the full aesthetics of the album basically. And I really wanted this to feel like it was set in 2006. So I'm using a lot of like older pieces, and really just trying to bring in that vibe. I thought about doing like full-fledged homes for each era, but there's something so exciting now that we have For Rent that dropped in December, and then I can have 11 different Taylor Swifts living in one neighborhood on one lot. So that is my ultimate plan. I'm very excited to do that and make, you know, my little Sims and really bring Taylor Swift into my game. So one of my favorite things about The Sims is that you can bring in any element that you love of your life and you can make it in The Sims. So bringing Taylor Swift into this game is my ultimate life goal. I have made it. I'm so excited. So now I'm working on the dining room, and I played around with a couple different tables and chairs, but I ended up going with the teal tablecloth from Cottage Living. Like I said, that pack is all over this home. And obviously in every build, I'm going to be adding in a bunch of music elements because, you know, she is one of the greatest musicians of all time. And so a lot of music is going to be present in these builds. And there's one thing about me is that I love music. I love music. It is my actual everything. I work in music. It's what gets me through my day. So I'm very excited to be doing this series for my favorite artist of all time. Now we're working on the office space, so I put in a desk, a piano, of course, a microphone, a guitar. There's a bunch of guitars in this house. They're all over. Obviously, she's very big on playing the guitar and the piano, as we know, those surprise songs. Sometimes I wish I could get up there and push it off of the stage, but that's okay, I can't. So I take it for what it is. Now I'm just cluttering up a bunch. I loved cluttering this up. It was so much fun, and just like getting to bring her albums to life in the game. Like, there's something so therapeutic about just sitting here, listening to the album, and building a story in a home around that. It's literally my therapy. Like, it gets me through my day. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm done work? Perfect. I'm gonna do this. When I tell you, I sit there for hours and I just clutter. I clutter. This house took me like 2.5 hours, and it's a tiny home. But that's my favorite thing about The Sims, is that, you know, you can just do whatever the hell you want, and it's there. And it's funny enough too, like, as I build and I go through things, I'm like, wait a second, like, this is like so Taylor Swift coded. So it's really cool to like bridge the gap of my passions together. That's my ultimate goal with this channel, is to like bring together everything I love and put it into one place. So yeah, there's butterflies everywhere, a bunch of guitars. I put the record stand in there from the Party Essentials kit. I love that record stand. That is like probably my favorite thing right now in the game. I'm obsessed. Now as we move upstairs, I do a little bit of the bathrooms. The bathrooms are kind of basic. My bathrooms, I wish I could do like cool bathrooms. Like I think that's a new goal. In the next home, I'm gonna try to build a really cool bathroom that is like more intricate than just, I do the same thing. I always do a 6-tile bathroom, sink on one side, toilet on the other, shower in the back. Like it's the same thing every time. It's so boring. I know, I get bored of myself. So I actually want to talk about ranking of the Taylor Swift debut album. So in this series, I am going to talk about my top 5 songs from each album. I don't think it's controversial. Like, I guess that's because it's my taste, but I don't think my ranking is controversial at all. But I definitely have some opinions. So I would say number 5 on the album for me would be A Place in This World. That song to me feels like the end of a movie, and if there was a movie to be made about my life, A Place in This World would be the one that ends it. I love that song so much, and it's always been one of my favorites ever since I was a little kid. So it's just like held such like a strong place in my heart. But I would say that's number 5. And then number 4 is The Outside. The Outside is, I feel like, a deep cut. Like, I feel like not a lot of people talk about The Outside, but it is so good. It is literally amazing. And the melodies in there and the songwriting, I'm obsessed. I think it's so incredible. And then I would say number 3 is Should Have Said No. Should Have Said No is one of her absolute best tracks of all time. And I stand by that statement. The Reputation Stadium Tour version with Bad Blood, chef's kiss. Like, it was flawless. So then I would say number 2 is Picture to Burn. I absolutely love Picture to Burn. I literally get all of my anger out when I scream that song in the car. It is so fun. And number 1 is Teardrops on My Guitar. Teardrops on My Guitar is no notes. It is such a flawless song. And that is like, after hearing Tim McGraw, I was like, ooh, I really like this. But then hearing Teardrops on My Guitar, I was like, this is the artist of my life. So I stand by my statement, and I know it's a hot take, but like, our song and Tim McGraw are not in my top 5. I love those songs so much, but those 5, I feel like, just encapsulate the album for me, and they're just, they hold such a special place in my heart that I can't let go of. And I am such an I'm the outside stan. Like, if there is no The Outside stans, I'm dead. Like, it is so good. And I stand by that statement. I don't care what anyone has to say about it. So we are moving into the bedrooms now, and this is where I started to have a little bit of fun. So I basically made one bedroom for parents and one bedroom for a teenager. So obviously Taylor was a teenager when she dropped her debut album. She was about 15. So I decided that in each of the homes, so I'm going to build it based off of the age that she was at. So right now she's a little teenager, and I'm putting in like the old TV, like one of those like big dinosaur TVs. I used to have one, and I still remember getting it out of my bedroom to put in a flat screen, and it was so heavy. We literally had to carry it out on like a skateboard. I'm like, what were we thinking? What were we doing, girls? Like, That was way too much. TV should not be that big. I decided to put that in here to really represent the 2006 era. I'm putting in some animal like beds and a cat tree. We know Taylor loves her cats, so I'm obviously going to put in some nods to that as well. Meredith, Olivia, and Benji are iconic, okay? I don't make the rules. They are iconic cats. Now I'm doing some wallpaper, and this wallpaper from Cottage Living might actually be my favorite wallpaper in the game. I love that you can tile it and it does a pattern. I just think that is so gorgeous, and the texture on it is so pretty, and the design itself is stunning. I truly just, I love this wallpaper. It's everything. But every wallpaper is green. So I was thinking teal, but I felt like since I had the teal accents in everywhere, it was fine. The only room that is specifically teal is the teen bedroom. The teen bedroom, I wanted it to be a little bit more fun, a little bit younger than the adult bedroom. So I went with that bright teal color from Base Game that we all love to hate. Now I'm doing some last minute touches on the inside of the home. I didn't want to clutter it up too much, only because then, you know, it feels overwhelming a little bit, but I felt like I cluttered it up a decent amount to the point where it felt lived in. So we're doing some curtains, which these curtains from Cats and Dogs it was perfect. I love the little like half curtain moment and the green teal color on it. Gorgeous, stunning. So I'm loving it. I love the way that this house turned out. There's some slight orange accents in there as well. One of my favorite color combos is green and orange. So I felt like to break up the monotony of the color scheme, it needed it a little bit. And then I found these beautiful curtains, the light blue with the teal trim. Stunning, beautiful, gorgeous. And I put that in the teen room. And then everywhere else got the Desert Luxe curtains. I love those curtains. They're literally my favorite thing ever with the tiling. And you have the curtain rod. Like, we need more of that in this game. Custom curtains, because I hate half the curtains in this game. Honestly, more than half. I hate most of them. So it's fine. But I'm now just cluttering up the kitchen a little bit more, putting in some of those like country accents. I felt like it just needed that. It needed that extra oomph of country, you know, a little bit of the country kitchen kit. It needed the vibes. So we are moving on into the backyard. It's a very simple backyard. So I didn't put a fence around this backyard because in the lot, you'll see I'm going to build fences and it's going to literally look like a giant neighborhood for every album, which I'm so excited. And actually today, I felt like was the perfect day to launch this series because it is the 13th. And I have a gut feeling this woman's about to announce something. I'm nervous. I'm shaking in my boots. I have this gut feeling. I know I know she's up to something. She's always up to something. Which, if nothing happens, do not bookmark this. I did not say that. But if something does happen, bookmark this, come back to this video, and just know that I felt it. I knew something was going to go on. So now we're just doing some last minute touches on the outside of the house, and I really love the way it turned out. I think it just encapsulates the perfect essence of the debut album. I think, you know, it has the country elements, it has the colors, and I put in a bunch of these little sunflowers as like the accent flower in the landscaping. I felt like sunflowers really fit the vibe, and I'm a big sunflower stan. I love sunflowers. I think they're so gorgeous. But I'm very excited about this series. I really am. There's obviously some albums I love more than others, and at the end, I will be giving my official ranking of my favorite Taylor Swift albums, and I'm going to rank them in order from number 1 to 11, but as of right now, we are in debut. We are fully in our Yeehaw era, and I'm so excited for debut Taylor's version. I need crazier Taylor's version, and You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home. I think her ending that album with You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home, Taylor's version, would be such a beautiful way to end the re-recording process, because it's like her songs came back to her, and they found their way back home. So I just think that would be so, oh my God, that vault is about to end me. And just hearing her sing Picture to Burn and Should Have Said No with her more mature voice, oh my God, I'm literally gonna die. Now we're just doing some final touches and doing some of these like path stones that I love. I would use these in every single build if I could. And honestly, I think I do anyway. So I'm just going to keep that going. So now we're just going to do some terrain paint on the patio and some terrain paint around the whole place. And of course I needed to add a little chimney. Like, hello. What country house do you know doesn't have a chimney? But yeah, so let's pop into the game and take a look at our Taylor Swift debut tiny home. So I placed the house on the lot that I'm going to be turning into the Eras neighborhood, which is obviously the 64 by 64 lot in Del Sol Valley. That's in like the Hollywood Hills sort of area. So this is the debut house. So when you first come up, you have a little front porch and there's some rocking chairs, some garden pots, my favorite butterflies in the game. It's my favorite item. I've said it once, I'll say it again. There are some string lights strung up along the front porch. There's a little bike. There is a flower arranging table. And then you can walk off into the back patio. And there's just like a tiny little hot tub, a grill, and a tiny little table. Not much going on in the backyard. I felt like it didn't really need it. So let's go into the house. So when you first walk in, you have a little entryway table, butterflies, a little clutter. So over here is the living room. I put a little notebook with some tea next to it, like she's writing a song. I'm so stupid. And then we have the kitchen, which I'm obsessed with this kitchen. I love how it turned out, all the greens, everything all together. And then I decided to do a little debut photo shoot. Listen, I'm going to be doing photo shoots for every album and everyone's just going to have to deal with it. I think these came out so cute and I have her in her little Yeehaw era outfit. And there are the stairs to upstairs and the dining table. And then you come into this room over here and we have the office space, which is just some music and a computer because a computer in The Sims is so necessary. And then on this side over here, we have a tiny little powder room. And then you go upstairs and to the one side, you have the parents' bedroom, which I love this item to fill with pictures of the cats or Taylor. It's like a simple parent bedroom, basically, since she was still a teenager in this time. And then we have the first bathroom over here. We have a little cat tree in the hallway, some cats playing the saxophone in the hallway. And then we have the litter box, another bathroom that is identical. And then over here, we have the teen bedroom, which has books and a keyboard and a guitar, a little cat calendar that was green. I was like, this is literally perfect. And a lot of this like teal color everywhere with some posters and stuff, making it feel a little bit more youthful. And that is the entire house. I love the way that Debut has this as the backdrop, like the mountains and all the trees and stuff. It's literal perfection. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this build, and I'm very excited to dive deeper into my Eras neighborhood and bring to life my Taylor Swift love and bring that into The Sims and onto my channel. And if something is announced today, I am a mastermind, and if nothing is announced today, then I know absolutely nothing, and I never said that. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button down below, and keep an eye out for Fearless.